VR is one of the most incredible new ways to enjoy gaming, and PlayStation VR2 is quietly one of the best next-gen headsets equipped with unique features for immersion and high-end gaming experiences. So today, from gorgeous graphics to exceptional haptics and adaptive triggers to AAA blockbusters, we're sharing our top 20 must-have PSVR2 titles that you need to play. Now let's begin. Okay, so while we do typically favor large games with deep mechanics, there's still room for incredible experiences here and there, and I can think of none better than Subside. The realistic aquatic exploration game is truly stunning looking, but it also has different areas to explore, items to collect, and purchases to unlock, so it's nice to have something fun to do as well. There's a demo you can even check out on the store first, but I say just go ahead and dive in. VR Skater is some of the best skateboarding I've played since the glory days of the Tony Hawk series. While it has a bit of a steep learning curve at first, in no time you'll be pulling off massive combos, getting some major hang time, and pulling off sick tricks across multiple stages and modes to compete in. The incredibly sharp resolution, gold medals to earn, and custom boards wearing out make it extremely satisfying to shred over and over. Calling all Superhot fans, it's easy to overlook Vendetta forever, but it would be a big mistake to do so. It features some of the best short scenario-based non-stop action where you dispatch loads of enemies with multiple weapons and objects and challenge yourself in a variety of different game modes. The unique mechanic of only moving when picking up weapons seems odd on paper, but in practice allows you to unleash your inner Baba Yaga. Despite Phasmophobia being pretty janky in VR, it still doesn't stop it from being one of the most fun, unique, and hilarious games to play with friends, as well as one of the scariest if you're crazy enough to try it solo. Deducing what kind of spirit is lurking in the shadows and unlocking and utilizing all the latest ghost hunting tech to solve hauntings while trying not to die in the process is such a good time. There's a ton to level up and unlock, and it's also extremely replayable and addicting.
What happened? What happened?
Skydance's Behemoth turned out a little different than expected, as there's a lot more enemies and bosses than Behemoths, but some of the ones that are there make for some of the most epic cinematic gameplay I've ever experienced in VR. The sword fighting system, grappling hook mechanics, and climbing also deserve some love too, among other things, but it's riding and climbing the behemoths that you truly need to experience.
Have you learned from the behemoths?
When you see your people suffer, you will do anything to save them.
Okay, so I don't know if I would recommend Alien Rogue Incursion to someone who isn't a fan of the Alien series, but I am one, and I think it's a must-play for hardcore fans. It's not Alien Isolation. It's an action horror shooter with an authentic Aliens experience and some of the most awe-inspiring atmosphere and lighting. It felt super special to interact and feel everything with great haptics, adaptive triggers, and headset rumble. Developers are planning on improving it, so by the time you're seeing this video, it may already be even better as well. Walkabout Minigolf is possibly the greatest minigolf game of all time. You can play with several friends at once, putting feels precise, and there's tons of different courses to choose from. With easy daytime and hard night courses that differ greatly, unlockable secrets, and hidden golf balls to collect, there's loads of content and variety that make it a must-have title for some fun and relaxation. Set in the post-apocalyptic universe of Metro 2033, what puts Metro Awakening apart from being just another VR shooter is the delivery of the storytelling. It's also extremely polished with production values that make it such an awesomely haunting experience to be immersed in, and it's no slouch of a game either. The graphics, diegetic UI, gunplay, and gas mask features really shine. I know it's hard to choose between the big three of Alien, Behemoth, and Metro, which all released near each other in 2024, but I personally thought this one was the best. PAVLOV has been the best social competitive shooter since launch, and that's due to its variety of game modes to choose from, as well as some additional updates. From Counter-Strike to Battlefield, you'll find some familiar style modes, and from Hidden Object to TTT, you'll also find some brand new hilarious fun other ones. This and Crossfire Sierra Squad are easily the best military style shooters on the platform and worthy of this list. VR horror games are a dime a dozen, but good ones are much harder to come by, and Madison VR is one of the best and scariest times ever made, up there with PT, Resident Evil 7, and Alien Isolation. It's a brilliant masterclass in horror storytelling, and the jump scares are so effective nothing can prepare you for the psychological torture it's going to drag you through. Even though I loved every second of it, I'll admit I was glad when it was over, but I will never forget how fun it was. I may be biased towards really cool video game mascots, but the Moss series is a sword I'm willing to fall on. It features some of the richest environments, clever puzzles, and of course the amazingly designed mouse heroine Quill. So much thought and detail went into the gameplay, and Book 2 takes everything the first did and does it even better. It is an incredibly special series, and I really hope to see Book 3.
Because her story depends on you.
If you love the deep loot and ability trees of Diablo, as well as Souls-type pacing and boss fights, then Legendary Tales is the dark fantasy action RPG you've been looking for. It has incredible physics-based combat with loads of weapons and magic, an immersive crafting system, tons of goblins, ghouls, skeletons, brutal bosses to take down, and can be played in co-op with up to 3 other players. It's a 30+ hour RPG, and you can powerbomb a skeleton through a table. I rest my case. Into the Radius is the ultimate sci-fi survival shooter. Traveling into the zone to complete missions, hunting for artifacts, and looting treasures is thrilling and tense, but it's complemented to perfection with a home base to get some R&R in between runs. There's highly interactive weapon customizing, in-depth and satisfying cleaning, and shopping and planning for your next mission. The gunplay and progression is top-notch, and the subtle little details like being able to play the best VR guitar I've ever played, shoving all your loot into your backpack, and so much more make it essential to own and spend tons of hours in.
You can hear me.
Arkenage is like a breath of fresh air. The beautiful graphics show off the impressive fantasy sci-fi world with great clarity, and there's loads of VRAF mechanics integrated into the exploration, combat, and crafting. It has fun melee attacks, robotic destruction, it's an excellent shooter with unique guns like a saw blade and harpoon sniper rifle, and the swimming and climbing make hunting for loot and secrets extremely enjoyable. During more than halfway through, I was actually questioning whether or not Arkenage was actually the best game on the platform, and I still want to consider it. It's that good. If you ever need to show someone how good a PSVR2 game can look and feel, there's nothing quite more technically sound than Red Matter 2. But the first game is an excellent sci-fi puzzle adventure with some thrilling moments as well. Red Matter 1 will introduce you to the world and puzzles with an exciting series of events, and Red Matter 2 is a technical benchmark for graphical fidelity that uses eye-tracked foveated rendering with a resolution basically doubling the highest of any other. Both are absolute must-haves and should be included together.
Be careful.
No. Belgravia isn't what we were led to believe.
The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapters 1 and 2 are benchmarks for full-fledged games built from the ground up for VR and deliver some of the best immersion mechanics in physics-based interactions. The first game is a must-play with loads of free additional content added, including story and trials, and Chapter 2 not only has insanely sharp resolution, dynamic physics-based slicing with a chainsaw, but it also has new night levels and a satisfying epic conclusion that goes out with a bang.
And I can connect you with a friend of mine who has access to.
No Man's Sky has reached legendary status. Hello Games stayed the course and not only continued to add content, but still keep improving what existed before as well, and now the endless sci-fi exploration sandbox has been completely revamped and overhauled with next-gen features. It's never been better than it is right now, and there's a full open universe with loads of things to do. From exploring deep oceans to getting into dogfights against capital ships in space, and so much more. I seriously think their next title, Light No Fire, will eventually get VR support, and when it does, will become yet another revolutionary title. Just remember, you heard it here first. The next entry could be considered number one by many, and I honestly wouldn't argue much about it. Resident Evil 4 Remake VR mode is the perfect game for either playing it the first time or for those who want to experience it in a brand new way. It's more of a fast-paced action-adventure than survival horror, which makes it a little bit more accessible, and while it wasn't designed to be VR-ified to perfection, it still exemplifies how amazing hybrid games can be when thrown inside the world with excellent core gameplay and lots of AAA content, even when retroactively going back and adding a VR mode. It's so good, so fun, and so replayable. Gran Turismo 7 in VR with a racing wheel is one of the most immersive gaming experiences I've ever had. You may not even care about cars or racing 1 second, and the next feel like an international racing champion. It's such a labor of love to automobiles and performance, and even better, has some of the most exquisite levels of detail and physics. There's hundreds of cars to choose from, all with realistic and accurate interiors, qualities, and traits, as well as various modes, levels, and unlocks. Simply put, Resident Evil Village being designed from the ground up with VR in mind from the very beginning, and so seamless out of the box, makes it something that is hard to touch. It's more than just the AAA production values, but it so ambitiously keeps you immersed in the world and looks and feels so good doing it too. It may not have the replay value of 4's remake or Gran Turismo, but playing through it is just an unforgettable experience with its varied environments, absolutely epic boss fights, first-person cutscenes, and other secrets and battles to discover. Alright guys, have you played all these games? Let me know which ones you think are deserving of this list in the comments below. With more AAA and high-profile games coming like Hitman, Aces of Thunder, and so much more in 2025, I can't wait to see how this list changes later this year. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.